Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of The Harvest Season. My name is Cody.
And my name is Bev.
And we're here to talk about farming games.
Woo!
Woo! How you doing, Bev?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got my coffee. I'm all bundled up on a kind of stormy morning.
I'm looking at my coffee cup, and it's like very theme appropriate. It's like has little plants on it with like little like aloe you very much.
That's really cute. Mine has
a sucker for you.
That is so cute. Mine has a tree on it. It's like fall themed, so it has like. But yeah. So thank you for joining us, farmers. Today's episode is about Lens Island, and you will note someone might be missing. This is officially the first episode that does not have Al on it. I think we just decided that it was a little bit much to have 3 people for a ton of episodes. It might be that, or it might be that Al just never played Lens Island. I'm not sure, actually.
And Al needs a break.
Al needs a break. Well, he's getting a break from the recording.
Yes.
But he still gets to edit it. So he's still with us in editorial spirit.
Yeah. We love you, Al.
We love you, Al. Okay, so we've got some news to talk about and Lens Island, obviously, to talk about. But first, what have you been playing, Bev?
I've been doing a lot of Pokemon lately. So I figured out like my strategy for how I want to move on with my Pokemon career.
Okay.
I am going to start to play all the gens over from the beginning, Gen 1 through Gen 8.
No.
I know.
Oh, no.
And do the national decks in each gen. So and make sure they're in like my name Bev now, because I have older Pokemon, but I would like them to be named Bev, or at least for my like account now. So yeah, I've done a lot of like box organizing in like my Google Docs and like Pokemon Home to make sure I'm tracking everything well.
That sounds like a bear.
Yeah, but I kind of enjoy it. I really like organizing. That's like my favorite part of like Pokemon card collecting too. Not that I've been collecting cards lately, but the organizing aspect of it is enjoyable for whatever reason. So yeah.
I feel that. I used to, it's snowing again. I used to go volunteer at the local comic book store when I lived in Oregon, and I'd literally just go there for 6 hours and organize Magic cards.
I would
get $3 an hour in trade-in. And then after I did it for like a month, that he bumped it up to $7 because I was like, I knew more and I knew how to organize them more. I didn't play Magic. I just came in one day and was like mentioned that I liked to organize cards, and he was like, "We have mostly Magic cards that need to be organized."
Oh my goodness.
And I remember he like gave me this huge box of Magic cards once. He like literally just had me take it home. And he was like, "Keep track of your hours." And I told him. And then I ended up buying like base Catan and then like 3 expansions of Catan with my earnings.
Nice. That's
It was
awesome.
a lot of fun.
I'm gonna see if my local comic book store will let me organize, even for free. That might be just like a cool way to make some cool friends too.
And it's so relaxing. That's kind of one of the reasons I love being an entomologist, is because I have I start off with like a vial of a bunch of dead bugs that I've killed, but then I have to like pin them, and then I have to create all of the labels, and then I have to cut out all of the labels, and then I have to label all of them, and then I get to identify all, like there's like this organizational aspect of it where you start out with like a bundle of dead insects and you end up with like this wealth of information that I put them in the museum here on campus at my university. So
awesome.
But it's It's the organization that gets it for me.
I think that's also what I miss most from like research myself. Is like doing like the data collection, the data sorting, like all the organization that involved in that process.
But not the writing.
No,
I don't.
Not.
No. I don't like the writing.
No, let someone else write it for me and just put my name on it. Like I don't need to be first author.
Man, I wish. Yeah. Well, I have been playing some Arceus, but so because of my knee injury, like I recently had a knee injury and knee surgery, I've been still recovering from that. I'm about 2 months out of the surgery. And so I got behind in a lot of
understandable
things. And so I'm still catching up on those. Like I had a manuscript I needed to revise, and I had a grant that is due in like 9 days, like that kind of stuff. And so I'm finally getting caught up on everything. And so like that's severely cut into my gaming time. Though I will note I've been working on a Zelda cross stitch.
I love that.
It's like, it looks like a stain. It's like Wind Waker style, and it looks like a stained glass window.
Oh, I remember you doing that one.
I'm still doing it.
I mean, those massive ones take years to do.
Yeah, it's almost done though, and I have like that because like that itch, because like I feel that it's almost done. Like I see that I only have like 12 more colors that I have to do, like because I have the little thread like thing, so I can see that there's only like 12 more that I need to do, and then I'm sure that I've missed some that I'm gonna have to like go back and fill in, but like it's like so close to being done. And so that's like yesterday I just did that for 13 hours.
I love that,
because I just needed to shut my brain down for a day.
Yep.
So
I also like am kind of recovering from like, I would just say a head injury and just kind of leave it at that. So I've been gravitating towards Pokemon because I can turn my head off. But maybe I'll get back into cross stitching too.
Yeah, you had some pretty awesome cross stitch. You had the Stardew Valley Girls one, and then I think I remember like a Hogwarts one too, right?
Yeah, that was a stitch along that I started back in 2020, and I'm still on chapter 1.
I mean, they take a lot of time.
They do. I'm almost done with that though. Like I only have a few colors left on that, so I understand that like urge. Like I am so close to being done with this, at least this portion of it.
So yeah, that's what we've been playing / crafting / not crafting / needing to craft. So let's go into some news.
Yeah. So this first one is for Ova Magica. We got an update saying that it's no longer a early access, it's beta, and it's now closed. What is it? Has it been closed, or like did they just change the name of it?
So they changed the name from closed beta to closed early access.
See, I don't know what that means. Like, did they just close it, or is it just like it's exclusive? Like,
okay, so they said they kind of have like a thing here that says there's like here's the reason why we did this, and it says quote, beta is a standard term to denote a milestone release during production in which game functionality is included and optimized but may still have bugs. Game content is finished but may have some implementation errors, and which it is considered nearly complete. And since the game will not be released until 2023, and they want people to be able to play it before then, the content will of course not be considered nearly complete. So they didn't think that beta was accurate, an accurate depiction. So they changed it to closed early access.
I love that they provide the definition for it. But like my issue isn't like beta versus access. It's the closed part. Like just say it is beta and early access. Like what is like you haven't opened it yet, so why is it closed?
Well, and like I get that, because I'm like, I don't really care if you call it beta or early access. It's still closed. I still can't play it. But yeah, basically, it'll be coming out in Q3 now of this year. The early access. So then the full game will be released in 2023, but the early access portion of it isn't until Q3 of this year. So, but we were if y'all click on the link that was provided in the show notes, if you're interested in Ova Magica, we were getting real excited about some of these creatures.
They're so cute. I love all of them.
I love the little butterfly one. It's funny because like I look at it and I'm like, yeah, this is all right, I guess. And then the more of the creatures that I see, the more I'm like, I need like
the more bizarre they get, I'm just like, I need this kill whale blob in my life.
The turtle. The turtle.
The turtle. The wild boar with its like little mohawk.
It's so grumpy.
I know. I love
little
it.
Angry eyes.
Yeah. Excited for this one. Did not back, I don't think, but I will probably get it at some point.
Yep. So the next one is the next bit of news is talking about how the original Harvest Moon game, the Super Nintendo version of the Harvest Moon game, is now available on that Nintendo Switch Online service, where you can have access to like old games. Unfortunately, it's only in Japan.
Yep.
And I, in the link, the news article, whoever wrote the article also like mentioned that outside of Japan, we received Earthworm Jim 2. And I got very excited. I don't have so you don't have this like membership thing, right? Like where you get these games.
I only have the basic one, so whatever is included in just having access to online services, I have that, but not like the advanced like N64 one.
Yeah, the one that has all of these cool games. Yeah, I just have the basic, like I can play online with my friends.
Yeah,
that's all I have. Yeah, so I don't know. I want Earthworm Jim 2. This makes me a little bit more excited about that. But yeah, so if you're in Japan, then you now can have Harvest Moon on
Exciting.
your Nintendo Switch Online service, not the basic one, but the
and
service.
It's like, well, it's NES, so I think most NES and SNES games are included in the basic because you have access to that. It's only I believe Al can correct me later if I'm wrong. I think it's only like the N64 games that are like in the higher tier subscription service.
Insert an Al voiceover here.
Yes, please.
That is correct. The N64 and actually Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis ones are the only games you have to pay the higher price for.
The next bit of news is about my time at Sandrock. And basically they just said that their early access is going to be starting on May 26, 2022 this year. So you can wishlist it on Steam and Epic. So this is you were saying earlier, this is the sequel?
Yep, the sequel to my time at Porsche. So like the art style is like very much the same. It looks like a lot of the mechanics are still the same. I haven't gotten very far in my playthrough of my time at Porsche, but yeah, it's interesting. It feels a little bit more steampunky, I guess, because I don't know, the train and town or whatever. So I'm interested to see kind of what they do with that. And there was some automation that we did see in the video of like tiny little machines, and that sounds awful because it just reminds me of Sauce Put or Story of Seasons, pioneer of Olive Town, and it's just basically resource management where you're micromanaging thousands of like tiny little machines, and I hate it.
See, that's when I saw it, I was like, oh, Al likes automation. But like the trailer, it has like a dance game.
Yeah.
It's almost like Dance Dance Revolution. And then it also looks like it has like a Super Mario Bros. Like or not Super Mario Bros. Mario Kart like game where there's like a racing thing and then there's like a whack-a-mole thing. I don't know. I'm like, what is this game not?
I know.
But whatever it is or isn't, get it on Steam or Epic on May 26th.
Yep.
Speaking of Sauce Poot, Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town is coming to PlayStation 4, quote, summer 2022. So sometime this summer, that game is going to be available, which it's currently available on Steam and Switch.
Yep. So if you don't have either of those and prefer playing on PS4, feel free to check that game out. So, it is very cute.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The most recent PlayStation is 5, yeah?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I am not entirely sure if PS5 already has like an engine in it to allow you to play like back like what's the word? Like
backwards compatible.
Yeah. It might have that capability. So maybe that's why they're like, we're not going to spend all this time and money like upgrading it into PS5 level like definition.
That's fair. Yeah. So if you have a PlayStation 4 and you've been wanting to play Sauce Poot, it's coming to you. Yep.
Summer 2022.
Next is sorry, I just saw me. Next is Roots of Pacha. And it's basically about the fact that the beta is out now. And so did you see what I'm
Yes.
in the show notes? I'll put beta out now. Don't worry. Al isn't here to complain about the incorrect use of the term. So, yeah. This is the game that kind of looks like, I mean, it gives me Stardew vibes.
Yep.
But it's like the animation style, but it's basically like prehistoric. So it's
mammoths.
Mammoths. You're like you're like people that live in more simple dwellings.
Cavemen.
Yeah, basically cavemen. And I mean, you got these you can make little huts and stuff, and it just, I don't know, it's super pretty. I really like the mounts as well. And that's one thing that they added, that they mentioned in this devlog, is that you can now race the animals. It says, in the alpha, you could only race with others in multiplayer, but now you're going to be able to race some of the characters every Saturday. So that's really cool, and they're really cute. And then they also mentioned that some of the animals now have like color variations. So yeah, I mean, like, it looks like they're adding a lot more to this game.
I'm like interested to see what the like fashion sense is going to be. Like in Stardew, you can change clothes. I think it takes some work to getting to that point. That where you can change your clothes, but is there going to be like a shop where I can buy like new caveman clothing? Like, what is the fashion? Like, how much fashion do I have in this game?
Yeah.
But it looks very cute, and I'm very excited. I already wishlist it. So yeah, very excited for this one.
Yeah, and they mentioned that like they now have full controller support, so you can now play with a controller if that's something you prefer, which is cool because this is on Steam. The sad thing for me, and I think this was my problem. Okay. The sad thing for me is that it's currently Windows only, I think. So they mentioned that they're going to have a Mac OS build in the near future. So that sucks because, like, for me, because I have a Mac, I do have a PC. We haven't fixed my desktop yet, so I do have a laptop that's Windows, but she's slow.
Yeah, they're not great for.
Not ideal. And I think earlier before recording, I mentioned that I hadn't gotten Capybara Spa yet, and I think that's why, is because I went to go buy Capybara Spa, and it's Windows only.
Mm-hmm. That's like, I love, like, I would prefer to use Mac for everything if I could, but that's like my main like drawback. Like, I built a PC so I can play, specifically so I can play games on it, but I would rather do everything else on a Mac if I had all the money in the world and space to do so. So I feel
I get that Apple is probably a bit of a beast to try and like work with, so I get it.
Like it took this long for SaucePut to come to PS4, so I could see them, like devs, like especially with smaller teams, it taking a while to make, you know, compatibility across different.
Well, and I know that's a problem with games, because Elle from Apico, one of the developers from the Apico team, he was talking about how you know, how difficult the difficulty that he is having with porting to these different systems, and that's what's holding it back. Like, the game has been done. The game has been like finished for months, and they're basically just waiting for their the consoles teams to be like, to basically greenlight it. And the one thing that I was groaned about the other day was, apparently one of the, I'm not going to name names, but one of the game systems had like previously approved it, and then they randomly were like, wait, nope. so like they had thought that they were like good with that game system, and then that game system was like, wait, no. And so they have to like fix that. So like, I get it. The last thing about Roots of Pacha, as I kept scrolling down this devlog, is that they're going to have a live stream with Sharky Games. I think Sharky Games is the developer. So you can have like a live stream, like Q&A session if you want to like talk to this person. They're going to be handing out a few beta keys. It's in YouTube. So go to the devlog. I think it's devlog number 22. Yeah. For Roots of Pacha, and hear about that. I
think actually Sharky Games is a streamer. So I think they're a popular, on their Twitter, full-time father and YouTube creator. So they're I think pretty big streamer, at least on YouTube. So that's like a pretty good collaboration they got going there.
Oh, so I bet that they're probably going to be playing the game. That's cool. So if you want to see it being played,
look for it on YouTube.
I'm sure they'll record it, and then you can like watch it after the fact. But it's going to be on, I guess. I was going to say it's on April 12th, so this episode's coming out after that. So if that was something you're interested in watching, go back and find the recording.
Go back in time.
I'm sure that they do.
Get out your time machine.
Okay, this next bit of news. Thank you so much for putting this in here, Al, and testing my your will. It's a Humble Bundle, and it's titled Industrious Sims. So if people don't know, Humble Bundles are basically like these sales of multiple games, and you can pay as little or as a minimum of $5 to like basically get all of these games for free, but like the money goes to a charity.
It's a great company. I love what they do, and just the fact that they get all these bundles at really reasonable prices and donate it to charity.
Yeah, and so this one is Industrious Sims. So it says, work has never been so much fun. Quote, get down to business while having a blast in this bundle of enterprising management sims. Take on the role of a modern farmer in Farming Simulator 17 Platinum Edition, featuring hundreds of real-world vehicles and equipment. Build and control your own bustling hub of international travel in Sim Airport, and get your hands dirty as a race car mechanic in the VR-supported Wrench. Enjoy the satisfaction of a job well done and support the charity of your choice with your purchase. So that is only 3 of the ones that are in here. There's actually 9. The other ones include Sim Casino, Barn Finders, which So it's basically like if you guys ever, if people have ever seen like American Pickers or Storage Wars, like those types of TV shows where someone is like an antiques dealer is going through like someone's old barn and like picking out things that can be sold for a lot. Or like Storage Wars is when people buy storage units and then you try and sell everything. It's basically that, which looks amazing. And then Accident is one of the games, which I'm not entirely sure what that has to do, like what that's about. These other three I didn't look at. Accident, Construction Simulator, which I guess speaks for itself, and then Gravel, which looks like a driving game.
Did you mention the Mary Can dream?
No, so Barn Finders has a DLC. It's called the American Dream. It's basically American, but spelled different.
It looks like it's only on Windows, so I'm glad I discouraged you.
Yeah, so that's I saw this and got really excited and started backing it, or started like, because if you want to get all 9 of the games, you have to pay $13. And I started going for it, and then Bev discouraged me.
If you have the money for it, I say definitely go for it.
I don't. I sure don't.
But if you do.
I sure do not. But this bundle, the offer ends in, it says 10 days, 2 hours. So the offer ends around April 21st? 20th? 21st? Something like that.
One of those days.
So if you're listening to this,
check it out.
Probably only have a couple days, but I don't know. Farming Simulator 17 looks great. Sim Airport, Sim Casino, and the Barn Finders. Like those are worth it in my opinion.
Yep.
Except that I don't have money, so
yep.
Want. Yeah, so that's that one. And then you want to talk about the last bit of news, Bev?
Yep. This last one is a new Kickstarter called Critter Craps. So it looks like another like witchy, like vibey farming game. But it's very cute, very like soft palettes, colors, like even the little monsters sound pretty cute. Let's see what the story is. The story says you receive a letter saying you've been given the ownership of a mansion on a faraway island after being run out of your hometown for being a witch. And upon arrival, you found that the town is empty and you can't shake this feeling that something's amiss. So I guess you're building this town from the ground up and growing cute critters and doing farming and exploring and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, the critters are super cute, and it's funny because there was the like monster that you're supposed to protect your critters from, and we both thought that was also cute.
And the name, Wee Eaters.
The Wee Eaters. But it's so cute.
I don't have money, but I want to back this.
Yeah.
I may consider
So yeah, this Kickstarter has a goal of 25,000. It's currently at about 22.6 thousand. 22,600. And it has 17 days to go. So it looks like it's for the majority of the month of this month.
Mm-hmm. Looks like it'll get backed. So yeah, check it out if you're interested.
Mm-hmm. And that is the end of the news.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to our main topic for today, we are talking about Lens Island, which is an early access game by Flow Games.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of Lens Island, this is from the Steam page, is, quote, build, fight, farm, and explore. Experience your own path, whether it's building the home of your dreams, tending to your crops and watching the sun go down, or exploring the mysteries of the island and the darkness underneath. But you may want to take a sword with you.
Yes,
unquote.
You definitely will.
So you basically wake up on an island that seems fairly deserted. It's really peaceful, actually. There's no like monsters that just like wander around.
Mm-hmm.
They're only in very specific areas. So it's fairly safe.
Yeah.
Like,
you think it looks like you wouldn't be safe, but you are.
But you are.
Except for like one area that's not in the mines that I've discovered that I died at.
The like islandy.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those. But yeah, so there are these like dark creatures that are kind of all over. Well, not all over. Sorry, they're not all over. They're on a couple different islands, and then they're definitely in the dungeon, or cave, or whatever you want to call it. So you have to defend yourself against those. If you go to those areas, so like you need to arm yourself, and then you can build like a base, like house, which I feel like the building of this it gives you a lot of options.
It does. And I've seen some incredible like designs on like the Steam community of people just building massive mansions, because it's not terribly hard to collect resources in this game. You are limited to the number you can hold at one time, but you can expand that later on. But you can just make massive mansions, and like you have 4 different styles of building now. So you have the wood, I think stone, marble, or is it quartz? I forget.
Oh, I don't know. I just made the most basic.
I made the most fancy. I and now there's a pagoda style, and I'm definitely going to be making a mansion out of the pagoda style
now. Yeah, so I figure we could start talking, since we are a farming game podcast. We can start talking about the farming aspect of the game and then get into the other things. So basically the farming aspect is just that as part of your home building, you can build these like raised beds and then plant things in them. So there are 2 types of like raised beds that you can build. One is called a garden bed, and it only has 4 plots. And then the other one is called a wooden farm, and it has 9 plots. And you can plant crops like blueberries, passion fruit, grapes, melons, and a couple other like fruit things, and then wheat. And then you can plant flowers like roses and lavender and things like that. And on the island, you just get blueberries.
Yep.
And then you can basically like plant those blueberries to like make more. And then I think you have all of the flowers that grow on the island, so you can like pick them and then plant them. Yeah. So that you can have flowers at your house.
And then eventually buy the fruit that's needed to plant the other ones like in town.
Yeah. Or I found some of them in the dungeon.
Oh.
I was like dungeon crawling, and I was like, oh,
the dungeon
I just picked up grapes.
Me.
The dungeon is very scary. You can then mill the wheat into flour and then bake it into bread, which is useful for when you're dungeon crawling.
Yes.
And then for watering, like at first you're given a really basic watering can, which you can upgrade, but you have to fill it from like the ocean or the stream or whatever. So you can build like a well, and then you can build the water tower, which has like way more water storage in it, but you have to fill it from the well. And then if you then build the windmill will power your water tower. So all of your plants get auto watered. So like your water tower will get automatically filled from your well, and then your plants get automatically filled from your water tower. So, but it takes automation, but it takes quite a bit of time, like, and resources
to get there.
I
have not gone there yet.
I think like I got to the mill and then I kind of stopped playing because I got busy with other things.
I kept dying in the dungeons and getting frustrated because I was trying to, I think, dungeon crawl before I was ready.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
we'll talk about that for sure. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much the farming aspect. Like your crops start growing, and then they get to a point where you can like hover over them and it'll say things like it's still growing, or it blah 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 blah, and then if you plant 1, I think you get 2. Like the output is 2, so you kind of double what you got.
And you don't use seeds for that. You just use the actual fruit to plant them.
Yeah.
And I don't think
the fruit has the seeds in it.
Just plant the whole fruit into the ground.
Is the nutrients.
I don't think the crops die. Kind of like
no, they don't.
Which is nice. Very nice.
I opened up my game like an hour before we recorded, and I was like, "Oh, they're still going strong." And I haven't played this in like a month because I've been busy.
Yeah. And I think we've gone over the building aspect for the most part. I did want to mention there's kind of like you have to build like a workbench, and that's kind of where you get all the upgrades you can get from your tools. You can upgrade the workbench itself. You can, I think, eventually upgrade or get like other things that you need, like a furnace, or I think you can get that in the house as well.
Yeah, I put the furnace in the house. And that basically converts like iron shards to like iron, I think. Oh gosh, I'm blanking now.
Let's go with that. That sounds right.
You can convert like shards of something to like an actual thing that's then used that you need.
I know for building, I like struggled on where I wanted to build the house, because you can deconstruct anything and get all the resources back and then reconstruct it. So like, which is really nice. You're never wasting materials unless you run out of space, which I did not notice when I was deconstructing my stuff. But I like moved it so I could have like a mansion next to the water. So I recently moved to the water.
Yeah, I made one. I built my house like, so like where you first spawn, basically, which is kind of on the northern part of the island. And then I got really into dungeon crawling, and so like now I wish my house was closer to the dungeon.
I think you can have multiple houses. Like, I don't think there's anything stopping you.
I do this with Minecraft too, where I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna make a smaller base, and then that becomes my main base, and then the other house, like every time I walk past it, it just looks haunted. I mean, it doesn't actually look haunted, it just like feels like I'm like
empty.
Yeah, I'm just like this poor house. My poor house plants are probably like dying, and they don't really, but in my heart they are. Yeah, the other parts of the building is that you have to learn the recipes for things, so you have to like buy the recipes
in town.
Either in town, or you can like, some of them are definitely in town. But like even from the workbench, I guess it's like all through the workbench, but you like tinker with this salvaged metal, and then it's like, oh, you figured out how to make this thing. Like, I can't remember. I think a training dummy is the thing that I can learn how to make.
Oh my goodness, now. Yeah.
And then you still have to then make the thing. So it basically just like you like teach yourself how to make it, and then you can make it. So you use salvaged metal for that, or some of them are coins. And those are the coins you can really only find in the dungeon or from selling things in the town. Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the town a little bit?
Yeah, if you want. I didn't write anything down about the town, so if you want to mention it.
Sure. So you kind of find it while you're exploring. So I would almost like include it under the exploring like aspect of the game. Cause you find this bridge that you have to then like repair, and then like it's a massively long bridge, and then all of a sudden there's a town on the other side, and it's like a civilization.
Yeah. Like you think that you're completely like cut off from the world. And then you're like, oh, there's a whole ass civilization over here.
Yeah. And there's like whole markets and stuff. And like, this is how you make your money, is by selling the blueberries you collected and like the flowers you collected and grown, and then eventually buying stuff. And they have like a little pirate cove too, which is very cute. And you can play blackjack.
I was gonna say you can play blackjack. I didn't even realize that you could do that until, because like I'm such a like collect all of the resources and just hoard all of these resources person. I'm less of less of a I'm gonna go find out all the little intricate things I can do in the town and stuff. But I was looking at the achievements and I saw win blackjack, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a pirate who will play blackjack for you, and I think that's how I actually made some money, because I was like, I am poor, like I can't afford anything, and then got really good at blackjack and made some money that way. And
here at THS Pod, we do not condone gambling to try and make money.
No, definitely not. No, don't do it. But also, there's a Steam achievement, so you kind of have to do it if you're a Steam collector.
Isn't it like win 100 or something?
It might just be 10. I think it was like very...
or I think it's like 500. Here, I got it up right now. I'll look it up. Continue talking.
Okay. And you can buy some more like weapons there, and also some upgrades, I think, to like different materials that you might need for upgrading materials. So that can be handy and helpful. They're not cheap to buy them, so it's definitely more, I think, efficient to just farm them yourself, either exploring or the dungeons. But yeah, there's some ways to get some other tools and stuff. And there's like, you can buy a shop. Like, I don't know if that's available yet because I don't have the money. It's like 20,000 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw that.
But you can buy a plot of land and you can buy a shop. And I'm like, what is coming?
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that's like, because every time I would log on, I would set a goal for myself, and that was definitely one. Like, yeah. Okay. Update. There's 3 achievements that have to do with blackjack. One is to just get a blackjack, and it's called blackjack. The second one is called gambling problem, and it's lose 500 coins on blackjack.
Okay.
And then casino master is to get 10 blackjacks.
Okay. Have I gotten any of those yet?
I don't have any of them because I've never even played blackjack before, but
okay.
I only have 8 of the 19 achievements.
I could have sworn I definitely played blackjack, but it didn't register that. Okay, interesting.
Did you get a blackjack? Isn't that when you like hit exactly 21?
Oh. No, I didn't. Never mind.
Yeah. You got to keep playing.
I just thought it was like you win.
No, you have to get exactly 21.
Okay. I only lost 2 coins apparently though, so I was doing pretty good.
Gotta lose more to get that achievement.
I know. And for those of you who do like collecting achievements and just everything in the game, there is a menu on like either, I think it might be on the workbench menu to kind of collect that tracks all the different weapon sets that you've collected over time. So like it's really nice for just, I think, having that. So you don't have to create a spreadsheet like I would eventually.
Yeah, there is an achievement for collecting all of the weapon sets. So I think that I have all of the ones that I can build.
Yep.
So I now have to go buy them all because like in town there's a bunch of different people that you can buy some from. And I think that's where I'm at now is I have to go buy them. But I need coins for that. So
I think the only complaint I have for the village is that I wish the NPCs felt more like characters. Like they had more of a dialogue, or that you can actually like, I don't know, if there's a marriage component, I would not hate that.
Flow games.
Yeah.
You're still in early access.
Yep.
Here's some
get that romance in there.
Heck yeah.
Let me woo some.
I mean, I
NPCs.
guess I feel that way about my character as well. Like my character doesn't really have a personality.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's more about the collecting and everything.
I also want more fashion options.
That's very true.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if they add it to it later though, so. Yeah, so we talked about building, we talked about exploring. I'm trying to think if we...
Well, one thing from exploring is that there are like buildings on your island that you can repair that will eventually be inhabited by people, which is interesting.
So can you actually... Well, so like they look like they could be fixable, but it's not integrated into the game yet, I don't think.
I don't think it is yet, but I believe they've like either announced it or like described it, or maybe it's just speculation, I don't know, But I believe if you do like fix a lumberjack one, a lumberjack will come and move in. Mm-hmm. Which is cool. Because is that part of like automation maybe? It's just hiring.
Yeah, because I'm like, do you just like go and get wood from him? Mm-hmm. Does he have like discount wood? I mean, I would
love that. Make this happen.
Yeah, so there's that. The island itself is pretty easily explorable, like, and things regenerate as well. So every day, if you walk the coastline, there's new like glass and salvaged metal, and then there's these barrels that wash up, and you can crack them open and get materials and stuff. It's just it's just such a calming game.
It is.
When you're walking around your island, because again, like there aren't monsters on your island, your island. They're on either the outside islands, like there's these little island offshoots that you can either swim to or just like walk across like a little tiny underwater land bridge thing, and get resources on those. And there are some monsters on those things, but yeah, so it's, and the sounds are really nice. Like it's a lot of nature sounds.
It's very, just so chill, and I love it.
So to contrast the chillness,
yes,
let's talk about the dungeon crawling.
Oh my goodness. Like they do not. Oh, I guess one thing about the exploring is that there isn't a map. Like there isn't a map of the islands of itself or the dungeons. I think, if I recall correctly, I think it is something that they will bring eventually. But that can be a little frustrating after exploring everything. And then, because I always got lost trying to find my house.
Yeah, it took me a bit to, I mean, and you can just follow the coastline and then eventually you get to, because like, when you first start out, there's like a canoe that has a sleeping bed in it or whatever. And so you'll eventually get back to that. And then you're like, oh, I can find my house from here. But
it takes some time to
yeah.
Which I guess is part of it. Like if they didn't want the map, it's fine. Like it definitely incorporates the whole aspect of living on your own on an island. But, maybe you can eventually develop some mapping skills.
Yeah. You know what I would love to map? The dungeon.
The dungeon, yes. Like, I would like to mark where this thing spawns and to avoid it if possible, or to be extra prepared for just the horrible creatures coming after you.
Okay, so first of all, I think that they've made it, They've increased the drop rate for some things, like since the beginning of the game.
Oh, good.
I think I remember that being one of their first things. So love that, because I would go to the dungeon and I'd come out with like 2 gold. And I'm like, what the actual heck? Yeah. Like, I just spent like 20 minutes running for my life. So basically you have health, but it does not regenerate on its own, but it will regenerate by a fire, or if you eat food. So make sure that you it's like a specific fire that you have to kindle, like, and
have coal or whatever it is that you need to start it.
Yeah, so make sure you go in the first time you go to the dungeon. Make sure you have some coal from some of the rocks above ground that have coal in them, or like. Wait, can you get it from above ground? You have to get it in. I think it's only underground.
You have to find the core, like, ore in the mines, and that was like my goal for the longest time, was just trying to find all the core so that I can light every single campfire that I find.
Yeah,
because they never go out. I don't think.
No, they're on in perpetuity once you light them. So it's basically like
and that goes for the lights as well, which is nice.
Yes. So the lights don't take a ton of coal, but the brazier fire thing that will regenerate your health, that is like 12, I want to say. I don't know. It's a lot. It's more coal. It requires more coal. Yeah. So make sure you harvest that coal and be ready. And lighting your path doesn't do, it just like because you can still see without it, but it kind of like keeps track of where you've been.
Yeah, and it definitely helps because it can just, you know, lighting in a dark place usually helps you see things.
Yeah, so you just run through the dungeon. You're kind of just exploring. There's some good resources in there that you can acquire, and you come upon these monsters that kind of spawn from a spawn point. I don't know what exactly.
Thing on the floor. There's just like bubbles.
Yeah. So there's like the basic little ones, and then there are some bigger ones that run faster.
Like there's like the two smaller ones. There's like one that's just like tiny, and then you have like a medium-sized one that kind of like lopes after you, and you can outrun them. But then there's this gigantic one that you can't outrun, no matter how much you try.
That one will mess you up for sure. Will mess
you up, like two-shot you.
Yeah,
it was terrifying when I first found it.
Dude, I was like, I felt like I had a good control of the dungeons. I was like, I get this, I understand this, we're good. And then I like came upon one of those. So I think of them as, have you seen Stranger Things? Like, I call them a demigorgon.
Oh my goodness, they are.
They kind of look like the demigorgon from Stranger Things. And so the first time I saw it, like, it was this the fear response that went through me was
just
ridiculous.
Screaming.
I was just like, what the heck? And especially because the dungeon is hard. Like, if you go in with the base set sword, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yep. And if you don't, like, if all you have is blueberries because you're starting out and that's all you can grow, you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna die.
You need like so many blueberries, and that takes like a long time. And so I would go into the dungeon in these brief little spurts. And basically try and get like iron shards so that I could upgrade my thing. And I honestly, it was kind of as frustrating as it was up front. It was kind of gratifying. Once I did have enough
to get far enough.
I was like,
to find the demigorgon like coming out.
Yeah, and then you find the demigorgon and you're like, oh my god. And like for the first little bit of the dungeon, for like the first it's like a cave. And then have you gotten to the city yet?
I have. So spoilers ahead. I mean, all this, I guess, is technically spoilers, but I think we'll be getting a little bit more into like end game, at least in terms of what's available in the access we have currently. So be warned, spoilers. But if you delve deep enough, you will find, what is it, the Forgotten City?
Yeah, or the Lost City, something like that. I think it's in the trailers, but I don't. But yeah.
And that's kind of like the only lore that we are like, I think, introduced to in the game is related to the dungeon. So I think this dungeon used to be like a mining facility, and you can see aspects of that in the dungeon itself. So you see like, you know, the old lamps that were there, like the lines running of electricity. At the beginning of the dungeon or the cave, you see like a bench that you think would be a workbench, but it is not. It has no purpose. And then you get to the city, and it's just, I haven't spent a lot of time there because I kept dying once I got there.
Because that's where the demigorgons
and like there's like mini bosses there in terms of like the amount of like enemies or monsters spawning in a location that would just overwhelm you. But it's really cool. It is really gratifying to get down that far. And I think there's even a further like I did a lot of reading because I was like, how do I get good? And this is spoilers, so I don't know if you want me to share or not.
Oh no, go for it.
You'll eventually get to like a shaft, like an elevator shaft, and that is the only like fast access or fast travel point that you will unlock as of currently in the game. So you will eventually be able to like fast travel to the elevator shaft. Yeah. But like I haven't found that yet.
Yeah, I need to find that. Because yeah, that's the problem with the dungeon, quote unquote problem, is that every time you go to the dungeon, you start off at the beginning again.
Yeah.
So even if you've gotten super far in,
it's almost like a roguelike in that sense. You're starting over from the beginning. And like if you don't remember where you went or how you got to that point, it's like, well, now you have to figure it out again.
Yeah, and there's like it's really pretty. There's like this one part of the cave where you go in and then it like the viewing aspect changes, and then you can see like behind you, like in the distance, there's this pool that has
oh my goodness
a waterfall going into it.
I think I fell into the pool, and that was one of those like the spawning points where I was overwhelmed.
Yeah. So that was cool. And then I remember also finding this one spot that there were trees underground.
Really?
And, yeah. And so like there's this area that's like it's like part of the city.
Okay.
Where you're walking around and then you randomly just come upon this like little forest underground.
Oh, wow.
There's a couple like areas of light like beaming down, and so you can tell that like there's an opening from the sky somewhere.
Wow.
It's gorgeous. So but it's this little, there are these these types of incentives to like get you to come back. Like and that's one of the things that I really want to do in this game is just keep going. First of all, I want all the achievements because they're fun to get.
Yes.
But also like I want to keep going back to the dungeon and keep bashing my face against demigorgons.
Keep trying to get as far as possible.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why I made the mill in the first place, is I was like, okay, what I keep running into is I keep running out of health.
Yep.
So I need to make more bread.
Yep.
Like I was like, I'm gonna go with a full stack of bread, or with like 20 pieces of bread, and it's gonna last me 10 whole minutes, and I'm gonna be so happy.
That is my strategy now. I think when I left off was starting to grow wheat so I can make bread and not die so much.
Yeah. But I kind of actually like the fact that there's like not a map, and the fact that it is this like you go and you're like, oh wow, I just got my butt handed to me, so let me figure out a way to not have that happen again. And it's like this trial and error.
Yeah. It's frustrating but rewarding.
It is very rewarding. Yeah.
Yeah, so I will eventually like a map. Like I could see that being something like you eventually unlock, so you still have this exploration aspect of it. Like you spend so many hours in this game, like you clearly have earned the map at this point.
Yeah.
Let me have the map because I can't progress further without it. Without
what if
dying.
Like you get to like the elevator shaft, and right in front of the elevator shaft is like a map on the ground, and you pick it up and then you suddenly have a map of the whole place.
That would be nice. Like that would be a nice
I would
reward.
like that.
Like that's definitely a way to do it, so that you still feel like you're doing the isolation of like exploration of everything for the first time.
Yeah. Like I've already gone here. Like I've already gotten all the way here, so I obviously know how to get here. But like then you could look at the map and be like, wait, I've never gone over here before. You know, and then like where you might have missed stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I would love
and then
that.
it could be optional. Like it's not something that's just always on your screen, like a little mini map, but it's something that you can like look at
and just reference as needed. I would love that.
I would like.
And there is like little there is like almost like a shrine down there that's like like a stone pillar, I guess, that has like a little thing in it, and it is a fast travel point as well to outside. So that's the only other one, but you have to spend, I think, a light stone to use that, and I didn't realize how rare light stones were, and I think
they sure are rare. Yeah.
And had immediate regret when I realized, like, oh, I can't get another one of these.
I mean, sometimes the farther you get into the city, the more you find. So it becomes
I keep dying.
It becomes a little less rare. Yeah. But there are times when I'm running away from like 3 demigorgons and all of the little baby monsters, and I just like foresee, it's like in one of the Deathly Hallows ones where they're running from the minister guy from the Ministry of Magic, and they're like running from him and they're just trying to make it to the fireplace to like get out of the Ministry of Magic. Like that's how I feel when I am running from those demigorgons, And I'm just like, I just want to touch this pillar and spend a light stone and just get me out of here. Just get me out of here.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of some frustration, but still a lot of fun.
I think that covers like the game and like the different aspects of the game. So I think we can probably like wrap up with our thoughts of the game.
There's one more lore thing that I think I can remember to share. So in the town, like in the far upper corner of it, you will find an abandoned, like really big, nice house that looks like someone like had an altercation there. Like everything's like overturned and stuff has been damaged. And there's like a note that says like something that I can't remember, but something along the lines of, I wonder what happened here.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what they do with that. Like I really want to know more about the story, more about the lore of this place and the dungeons. And I think there's also one other like abandoned building on your island maybe that has something similar if I recall correctly. But yeah, that's the only other thing I can think of that we haven't already covered.
Yep.
All right. So your thoughts, overall thoughts?
Obviously I love this. I already really enjoy this game. I've loved seeing it come together. So I did start playing it like when it started, when it became available in November. And I've loved seeing the additions to the game as well. Like, for example, since its release, one of the first big complaints that the community had at the time of release was that you couldn't custom key map, like your keyboard mapping, which some people it's just like they want to custom map it, but other people it's like a challenge. Accessibility. It's an accessibility issue. Like if someone has is missing a finger or something like that, like they need to change the key mapping. And so that has since changed. So they recently with one of the last couple dev notes was a bug fix that included custom mapping. So that's really cool to like see that. They're incredibly receptive to their community. And then you had mentioned that they now have the pagoda building style, which was introduced in a patch that celebrated the Chinese New Year. So I can foresee like holidays or holiday themed events happening in the game. Maybe it would be cool if like if it included the NPCs.
Oh my
goodness, something like that. But for now, I can just see them giving holiday themed like building supplies or outfits would be cool as well. Or like farming things, like
an event, like a town event or something.
Yeah, and then like a cute little town event. I could see all of that happening. I'm absolutely blown away that this is only done by 2 people.
It's incredible.
Flow Games is just 2 people. And this is an amazing amount of work and a really great game for it to only be done by 2 people.
Yeah, and it's really polished, even though it's like early access. So like I haven't really found a lot of bugs that I've encountered, and they're pretty good about updating it like almost monthly. I think like the Pagoda one came in February, so I wouldn't be surprised if they came out with something new to have fun with soon. So yeah, I definitely enjoy it. I would highly recommend getting it. I also started playing it like immediately after it came out and did a couple of streams of it like on Twitch. So would highly recommend, and really excited to see where they take it moving forward.
Yeah, it's one of those things like I played maybe like 20 hours of it. And I still have things that I could do.
So
like,
much.
And it's still early access. Like it still isn't even a complete game yet.
Yeah.
And I already really am enjoying it and have these things that I want to do and play blackjack and stuff.
I almost feel like that's my preference for like these early access games. Like just have a really polished like even if it's just a small area that you can work in. Like Ooplet started out that way. Like you only had one town to work in, but there was so much you could do in that town.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much here you can do, even though it's still early access.
Yeah, still not even a complete game. But it feels like it is.
It is, yeah.
So, Yeah. Did you have any other thoughts?
I don't think so.
Okay. So if after listening to this episode, you're like, holy crap, where do I find this game? It's on Steam. So it's $25 USD on Steam. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I guess where can we find you, Codey?
You can find me at I always forget, but it's just my name. I don't think it has a dot period in the middle, but it's just at Codey Mathis on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. I sometimes got confused. It's like, what is math? Like, math is what, Codey?
Yep.
But yeah.
Me.
You can find me at Bev Granger 711, pretty much on every platform. I'm not really active. I think I'm kind of active on Twitter, but feel free to tweet at us if you also love this game. The podcast is also available at THS Pod on Twitter. The email is harvestseason.club. We also have a Patreon where we have an exclusive greenhouse episode. This week we cover our gardening plans for the year.
Woo!
Yay! So feel free to back on Patreon if you want to hear about our gardening plans. Yeah.
Yep, and that concludes this episode of the harvest season. So until next time, have a good harvest.
The Harvest Season is created by Rochelle Delaney and Al McKinley, with support from our Pro Farmer level patrons, Kevin and Stuart. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Thanks for listening.